Yo, I want to do this video because I had seen this video on More World TV Tahaka. He did a video interview on I think her name is York. Just a couple of days ago, and she was breaking down, Polite's inception, and talking about Sister Sakina and 717 Bushwick Avenue. That was the bookstore in Brooklyn, New York. That Nubians, like really the main headquarters. You understand? So she was breaking everything down or whatever have you, and then after that, I had ran across. I'm making a point here. I ran across. His name used to be the Nubian assassin, but I ran across his page, his channel, and they have a recent recording of Dr.York talking to another lawyer. But the reality of it is, it's not even recent. It's kind of like 8 years behind. You know what I'm saying? So the interview took place like 8 years ago, right? But anyway, it's a whole big commotion of this whole recording shouldn't have been like broadcast or uploaded on YouTube for the world to see, or hear rather, right? So, I'm just gonna sum it up real quick. You know what I'm saying? On the recording of Dr. York, the lawyer's talking to him, and Dr. York is still talking about he's a Liberian citizen and he was born in Ghana and all of these lies, right? And the lawyer is listening, and he's saying, well, have you applied for your repatriation? And has the consul got in contact with you as far as dealing with Ghana and Liberia or whatever? And Dr. York said the paper's already signed and all the rest of that stuff. And the lawyer is like, yo, well, I don't see it in the documents. You know what I'm saying? Just because Liberia or Ghana is stating that, they want you back, America has to release you. So they get into this big commotion. And the funny thing about it is, if you really listen to that, to the whole thing, right, you can tell that Dr. York don't know what the hell he's talking about. And then this lawyer is really like advising him the right way. And the lawyers that Dr. York has is just lying to him. And it just, when I listened to that, it just brought back memories of just all of the shit that Dr. York used to tell us and teach us, and we just believed it. You understand? We never questioned. You know what I'm saying? We never questioned anything. We just accepted things. It got to the point where Dr. York came up with this thing called, at first we were dealing with knowledge that's on the planet Earth, right? And then he was like, there's gonna come to a point in time where certain things I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna be able to prove because it's out of this world. It's outer knowledge. You see what I'm saying? And we ran with it. And I mean, as embarrassed as I am to say it, just about everything he talked about, whether it was dealing with, I know some of you all are familiar with the Pickle Man, whether it was the Pickle Man, we had the book in the bookstore. We was selling that. We was selling the Spider-Man. He was talking about the Spider-Man, Pickle Man. He was talking about the Predator being from the aliens that look like the Predator, and they being from the planet called Andromeda. He talked about Shambhala and Agatar, which was a inner city within the core's Earth, where there were beings called the Shaggies, the Terroids, the Deroids. He talked about, and this is in a Man from Planet Risk book, so I'm not making none of this shit up. You understand? He talked about these little creatures called, I forgot what they were called, but I think they were called Duanis, if I'm not mistaken. But they were like Ewok looking, beings, right? Aliens inside the Earth. And he would say that the leader of the Duanis, these Ewok looking creatures, was named Sinclair, and that he loved, the Ewok looking being loved to read William Shakespeare. And he said that he had met, this is Dr. York talking, he had met one of the aliens. So it's crazy. I could go on with the shit that he used to teach us. You know what I'm saying? I mean, He talked about, you know, the Anunnakis being the angelic beings. You know, when I came into the information, right, we were praying to the Anunnakis, right? Praying. And, you know, we prayed to the Anunnakis, you know, to Mother Ninti, Inky and Lil, you know. I knew the Most High, which was supposedly Dr. York's grandfather. Inky was Dr. York's father. But what the Nubians will say is that wasn't necessarily Dr. York's physical father. That was Murdoch's father, which was a being incarnated inside Dr. Malachi z.york. So, and I'm gonna get on these different beings too that he said was incarnating in him at different times, right? So, you know, he talked about these Anunnakis, and, you know, we used to pray to them, you know what I'm saying? But then he turned around and said that, you know, the 144,000 are going to be picked up on, you know, these ships, and the Anunnakis that's coming down are not the angelic beings that we think they are. They're actually here to come down to eat us, and we're their prey. Prey. And that, you know, basically the earth was nothing but a big refrigerator, and the Holy Bible was nothing but a cookbook. I'm not making any of this shit up. And that, you know, he had 76 trillion years of knowledge, and that throughout all these years, different beings talked through him. So there have been several different beings that have incarnated inside of him. This is the stuff that he used to teach us, and these are the things that we used to like accept, and we never questioned. Never. When he said he was, you know, from another planet, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 19th galaxy, Ilium, 8th planet Risk, and that the 8th planet Risk had 3 suns. It was Utu, Shamus, and Apsu. And I used to always say that shit, you know what I'm saying? Like in my mind, like, okay, so, and he used to be like, you know, the planet Risk revolved around all 3 of them. And I'm like, yo, when did they ever go to sleep? When was it ever nighttime? You know what I'm saying? I used to ask these questions all the time. Yo, what do Riskians eat? You know what I'm saying? He used to say that there was a difference between the Anunnakis and the Riskians. You know what I'm saying? The Riskians are like these light beings that can come out of their body and just be etheric. You understand? Not so much of a physical entity. And that when they were, you know, in a physical body incarnated, most of the time they watch TV. And I'm like, damn, well, you were the one to tell us not to watch, you know, TV and shit like that. It was just like story after story after story. And let me tell you something. The reason why we fell for it, because it was just so convincing. That's one thing that I will say about Dr. York. Well, I ain't gonna even say Dr. York because he's not even a doctor. I mean, not too long ago, he got his GED in prison. You know what I'm saying? So Dwight York, you know, that's one thing about that I can say. He was an amazing storyteller. I can say that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, had I had the opportunity and I wasn't scared, had I had the opportunity to sit down with him and question him, I think he would fold. Straight up. Because the shit that he used to say was just so outlandish. You know, and he contradicted himself so many different times, but we never really like thought about it. We just thought about it like he would give this excuse like it's just a school that we're going through. You understand? Like at one point in time, we was bashing the Christians, you know what I'm saying? And then right before he got locked up, you know, he said that he was saved and that Jesus came to him, and either in a dream or he was talking. I think it was he was looking at a televangelist TV show or some shit, and Jesus talked to him through the TV screen or something like that and told him to give up the whole ancient Sumerian text, Egyptology and all of that, and convert to being Christianity. And when he did that, then they started with the Church of Karas. They had a Nubian choir, and then his name was changed into Reverend Dr. York. And let's not even talk about the many name changes and the many costumes that he put on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at one point in time we were cowboys, and then the next after that we were, you know what I'm saying, Egypt. You know, we was into Egypt. We was dressing like Egyptians, and then we were dressing like, you know, Moors, and we had the tabush. You understand? You know, and then after that we were Christians, and it just everything fluctuated. You know what I'm saying? Everything changed. You know, at one point in time, Dr. York was wearing braids, and everybody started wearing braids, and then he cut all his hair off, and then he had this little rat tail on in the back. I think that was the inky tail or some shit like that. I know the women used to wear the Mananiti braid on I think it was on the left side of their face. And I think it got to the point where they were wearing it on both sides. Mother Ninti is supposed to be the creator of human beings, along with the other scientists, if I'm not mistaken, Arishkagul, Inky, and all of this whole thing was performed on the planet Mars. I know I'm just like going everywhere with it, but I'm just trying to explain to you straight up. This is how it was given to me. This is how it was given to me. You know what I'm saying? And all of this, the whole human experiment was performed, if I'm not mistaken, on Lamu, called Mars, right? And they transported. Yo, I just gotta pause because, you know what I'm saying, I'm out of the information. I'm away from the Nubians, and it's like it was a great area where I just didn't think about shit. You understand? But now that I'm thinking about the doctrine, it just sounds so outlandish. I just can't believe that I really believed in this shit. Let me get back to the story. So they transported the if I'm not mistaken, the embryo of the human, right, inside of dolphins, and brung it to the planet Earth, and Earth at that time was void, without land, and the dolphins were in the water. So we were birthed from dolphins, and he said, "This is the reason why humans can talk to." You know, when you hear when the dolphins go, "Ee," he said he knows what they talking about when they do that. Yo, I'm trying to think about other stuff that this man said. It was, I'm telling you, man, this shit is just crazy, man. And you know, I truly believe that this organization, or rather cult, was meant for people such as myself. You know what I'm saying? Came from a broken home, didn't know too much. You understand? I went from, high school, I went to high school in the South, you know what I'm saying? And not to say that high school was different than any other high school, whether it was in the North or the West Coast, or, you know what I'm saying, or Midwest or whatever have you. But, I went to school in the South, and I went to like a half and half, you know what I'm saying, high school. You understand? It was white and black. At that point in time, they were busting in, underprivileged kids, because I guess they felt sorry for them, you know what I'm saying, or sorry for us, you know what I mean? So, I went to high school, and it was a pretty decent school, you know what I'm saying? I read and learned, a lot of stuff there. I read poems like, Beowulf, and, Edgar Allan Poe poems, and, books like To Kill a Mockingbird, Lord of the Flies, The Crucible, The Scarlet Letter, the list goes on. You understand? But one thing that I will say, that they didn't teach me the Odyssey, the Iliad, all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Greek mythology, I was a fan of that shit. So it was easy for me to grasp or hold on to this doctrine, because it was kind of like sci-fi-ish and shit. You understand? But just, rather regular fictional. You know what I'm saying? So, it was easy for me to grasp onto it. And then also, I didn't know anything about Egyptology. I didn't know anything about the ancient Sumerian texts. You know what I'm saying? And also on top of that, I didn't have a father figure that was there that would tell me, yo, man, that motherfucker is full of shit. Don't listen to shit he's saying. He's a con artist. I didn't have no one to tell me that, right? So, I got involved, and it was easy. I was easily led into the organization. You understand? Like, I remember I put up a fight for I think about a week. You understand? Because, you know, they were saying that they used to have posters and shit, right? I think they still have these posters. But used to have Dr.York or Dwight.York, you know, with his hair split, like perm, like. I forgot to tell you, he was also an Indian too. They call him Chief Black Eagle. And I forgot the nation that he was trying to. But anyway, so yeah, so it lasted a week, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm sorry. Lost train of thought. So they had this poster, right? The poster was with and they probably still have it. It's an old poster, you know what I'm saying? I had one hung up on my wall in my apartment at the time when I was, you know, with the New Orleans. And this is Dr. York, the White York. He's in all white, and he has a part in the middle of his head, and his hair split down, and it looked like he on a perm, right? And then he's holding a lamb in his hand, and then there's different kids around him, and they say peace. They had a slogan, but it said it on the post as well. It says peace is truly wonderful in the lamb. So it was in the very beginning, they were giving off that vibe, like, you know, even though they said that he wasn't, but they were giving off that vibe as if Dr. York was the savior. You know, he was the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. You know, so I put up a fight a little bit for like a week, like, nah, man, you know, because I come from a Christian background. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't having that shit, but, you know, eventually I gave in. And I filled out the application. The application was very personal. They was asking about, you know, what kind of money you got in your bank account, your savings account, your checking account. Do you have any assets? We had to take, we had to find out our blood type. We had to take, AIDS tests and all of that stuff. And I just, my thing is, I always wondered, like, why the fuck does this motherfucker need to know all this damn information? Straight up. You know what I'm saying? But throughout the years, you know, as I, like, you know, progressed in the cult, you know, things just changed, man. And then when he got locked up, it was just over for me because, you know, they put out the Patarak and they started changing the whole doctrine around. You understand? Like, things changed, you know. So then the Anunnakis went from us praying to the Anunnakis, you know. They were our angelic beings, Anu being the Most High. And then after that, it changed to they wanted to eat us. And then after that, it was the Anunnakis were the disagreeables or the reptilians. And then we had a new batch of angelic beings called the Nibiru. And with the Nibiru, that changed because, you know what I'm saying? The name changed. It was Nibiru and then Nibiru, something like that. Something. And then, like, the whole thing, and I'm about to end this, the whole thing of the 144,000 changed too. You understand? Because, I mean, I ain't even lying. I told you all in the last video, a couple videos ago, I told you all, I was waiting for my seat to be, you know, for me to get my seat on one of the ships that came to pick up the 144,000. But even that story changed. You know what I'm saying? So at first it went from, we're gonna pick you up the 144,000, we're gonna take you to this planet-sized ship called Nibiru, to there's gonna be a vortex open up and you gotta make it through the vortex. And the shamans, which are homosexuals, they're dual genders, so they're the only ones that's going to be able to open up the vortex. Any heterosexual man or woman can't be able to do it. That's when the damn doctrine started to change and shit just started getting crazy, you know what I'm saying? And they started talking about the Nibiru, the angelic beings, the ones that created us were homosexual, and I was just done. I was done. And I just don't even want to go into like what they are into now. Because to be real with you, when they started talking about the angelic beings being homosexuals, and they started talking about the golden child and liquid gold, and you need to drink the liquid gold and dematerialization, far as going through the black hole, and you'll be recrystallized and all that crazy shit that they can't even. Outformation, that's what it was called. Like, outformation, you can't even prove. Because we were studying information. And then all of that homosexual and angelic beings and all of that stuff, that was outformation. Stuff that he couldn't even prove. He couldn't even prove the information. So let's even tackle that first. But hey, you know, what can I say? You understand? it is what it is. I'm done. You know, I'll never go back. And at the end of the day, I just want to say this one last thing, and I promise you, I'm done. You know, I thought at one point in time that we locked up the real criminal. And the real criminal was, at least who I thought was, and as well as others, was Dr. York, also known as Dwight York. But the reality of it is that we didn't lock up the real criminal. The real criminals, plural, are still out there. And they're the ones that's running the bookstore, and they doing the same bullshit that was done when Dwight York was in jail and now that he's out. Straight up. And those people will never stop doing what they're doing. And if anyone is the real people that touch kids and did all of the rest of that stuff, they are. You want to know why? Because they're still doing the same dumb shit that they were doing when Dr. York was out. And they're passing that bullshit on to this generation. You understand? So the real criminals, plural, we haven't locked up. And now I see just how important it is to, like, shut down the cult called the Nubian Nation or the Sabians or whatever the hell they call them now. You understand? The community the cult as a whole is no good. Plain and simple. You understand? So I'm here to tell you that Dr. York wasn't the only one that was touching kids and doing the things that he was doing. He wasn't the only one. And I'm more than sure that he knew. I'm more than sure that he knew. Like, I'll give you one example and then I'm out. He knew that our bookstore was turning in a whole bunch of money. We were like the top dogs and everybody hated us. Right? He knew we were selling bootleg movies. He knew that. He knew we wasn't selling his books like that. But he didn't give a damn. He took the money. So what else did he know? Is the question. Other than that, man, I hope you all enjoyed this video. And at the end of the day, if you know anyone that's, you know what I'm saying, about to be a Nubian or that's in it, you know, family members, friends or whatever, show this video to them. I'm going to actually put the link of Confessions of an Ex-Nubian parts 1 through 25 in the description. Well, I'll put it in the comment section of this video. And they all can look at those parts, and I'm taking everybody from the beginning of me becoming a Nubian all the way to the end. And with that, they can't ever say nobody warned them, because I'm warning people. My stories are a living testimony of what I went through. And I'm not fabricating, embellishing on the truth at all. It went exactly how I said it in Confessions of an Ex-Nubian. Other than that, I want you to like, comment, subscribe, and definitely share this video. Peace.